We'll wait like one more minute. You guys, it is so fun. I'm like having the time of my life, I swear. But I want to hear from you guys that are doing it. I'm lit. That's exactly how I feel. Litty. And just so you guys know, May up, so it's May 3rd, right? Okay, I'm like crap. Excuse you. Hey, hold on a second. My other children. Yeah, that's what I thought. My other children. But May 3rd is the day to sign up your challengers. Now, I'm still like kind of in between if I want to make a different group or if we want to add them to the one that we're doing now. I don't know yet, but I'll let you guys know, obviously. So just stay like in the loop with things. But start talking about it now. Start sharing it now. Start talking about the May 3rd group, okay? And I don't see why we can't just have them start on May 3rd unless you guys really want to do a prep week. I have the prep week, but I would love to hear from you guys. I don't like making the decisions all by myself over here because this is a team effort, and you guys know that it's not just my challengers, my coaches, my girls, it's yours too. So if you have input and you want to add something, or you're like, hey, Abby, I'd love to take over the challenger group, let me know. So where are we at? 8:02. Okay, perfect. I'm going to stop my share because we do have our guest speaker tonight. I'm so excited for this call, and I want to give her all the time in the world that she needs. So our guest speaker tonight is Jessie, and she is a 4-star diamond, 3-time premier, Success Club legend, 77 months in a row. And she is going to be talking to us about creating consistency with your tracker, but she's going to give some truth bombs. She asked me if it was okay, and I was like 1010%, because I think that they're tired of hearing me give them truth bombs. So bring it on. You need me to give you permission to, yes, that's what I thought. Cool. I will just make you host. How about that? Host.
Perfect. All right, you guys. Hi. Thank you guys so much for having me here. Just a quick, I have slides because I'm pregnant, and Gabby knows this. Pregnancy brain is real. So I had to create slides so that I would stay on track with you guys and not ramble for the next 30 to 45 minutes. But before we get into those, I just want to kind of introduce myself, tell you a little bit about me. I've been a coach now. May 3rd makes 7 years as a coach for me, you guys. I came into this business wanting nothing to do with this business, just wanting the discounts on my shakes, but quickly fell in love with the community, fell in love with my results, and I wanted to share them with everyone. And I was also working 2 jobs when I started this business, actively started coaching, and became a full-time coach a year and a half in, and have been a full-time coach since then. I'm pregnant right now with my first. So I've been through like every season of life, from getting married to moving to now growing a human, all in this business. So literally, you guys, and I'm a dog mom too. So literally, like, anyone, I don't care what season you're in, I don't care how many children you have, I don't care where you're at in your life, you can be successful with this business. This business is built between your ears, meaning it's all in your mindset. And I'm not doing a call on mindset tonight, but I wanted to start with that because, you know, I know so many people hold themselves back on why they can't do the tracker and why they can't do the things. And the truth is that it's all BS, right? Like, it's all in your mindset. It's our limiting beliefs that are trying to stop us from getting where we want to go, which we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But basically, if I can do this, you can do this. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And we are going, can y'all see that? Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure before I like go. Let me see if I can put it to where it's like bigger for y'all. I don't know. Oh, that's too big. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Okay. So y'all can see that. We're just going to go with it. So I titled this screw the tracker, rock your damn life, because honestly, you guys, what we do as coaches is to help you, like all the things on this tracker, okay, help make you a better human being, right? It helps you become in charge of your life. It helps you rock your life. So that's why I'm saying, like, screw the tracker. It's not about checking off boxes, okay? It's not about you like doing the things. It's about you creating a life that you absolutely love, that you thrive in instead of just survive in. All right. So let's get real for a second. And I'm a very like on calls, when I speak on calls, by the way, I like interaction. So I'm going to ask you guys to participate a little bit. And no, I'm not a teacher. A lot of people used to be like, are you a teacher? Because I like interaction. I like you like giving me feedback. I like asking questions and getting answers. So I'm going to ask you to participate in this call. Okay. So what we do as coaches is not hard. Okay. Like really, it is not hard. When people are like, oh, it's so hard to show up, or it's so hard to invite, or it's so hard to do this, I'm like, no, fighting cancer is hard. People that are at war, dealing with war, that's hard, you guys. Being a doctor, I could say, is hard because I could never be a doctor. Like saving someone's life, that's hard, right? Like what we do is not hard. In fact, it's super, super simple. But the thing about it is, it's a decision. It's a choice on whether or not you're going to show up and do this tracker and do these daily actions, or it's a choice not to. And guess what? It's really easy to choose not to show up in this. So before we get started, I want to ask you a question. If time, money, your limiting beliefs, all of the things that hold you back, if those didn't exist, where would you take this business? I want you to put it in the chat. Where would you take this business? Where would you take your life? What goals would you be going after? What would you achieve in this business if time, money, your family, all the excuses that we use on a daily basis, if that didn't exist, pretend like it didn't exist. Pretend like if I told you that whatever you want out of this, it could happen tomorrow. What would you be doing? I would be traveling more and saying yes. I want like traveling where? Saying yes to what? Millionaire Club, write a book, start a nonprofit. Love that. I'd be able to make a difference while on vacation. I want you guys to dig a little deeper. Like paying off debt, you guys. Who has debt you want to pay off? Who hates their job and wants to walk away? I really want you guys to like dig deep here. Would you quit your job? Would you be doing what you're doing? If I literally told you, no matter what, you would not fail at this. You would be able to walk away from your full-time job or buy that dream house. What would you be doing? I would be paying off credit cards, student loans, building our dream home. Okay, now we're getting, see, this is what I like. I'd quit my job, pay off debt, adding to college tuition. I love that. So now that you wrote down like what you would do with this business, buy my mom her dream car. Ooh, I like that. I'd like that. Now that you wrote down what you would do with this business, how would that impact you and your family? How would that impact you and your family? What would that do? Would that give you more time with them? If you were able to walk away from the job you were miserable at and stay home with your kids or send them to daycare, because trust and believe your girl. So I get not wanting to be a stay-at-home mom. I get it, you guys. I want to know less stress on your husband. Be an example for your kids. Okay, so then why are you not doing that? Why are we letting our excuses hold us back from doing that? The truth is, you guys, is you're sitting here with all these excuses in your head. They're totally BS, but you're saying that your husband, your kids, your dreams are not a priority when you use the excuses that you use. And trust and believe, I'm not saying I am perfect in this business. I'm not saying that I never use excuses. I'm a human being. We all do. But the truth is like, if you have a strong enough why, the BS excuses, the limiting beliefs, the fear of failing, all of those things, like none of that really matters. If you know why you're here, your lack of time, we make time for things that are important to us, you guys. If your kid breaks his arm on the playground, you didn't maybe had the time to bring him to the hospital, but you sure as shit find the time, right? Because that's important. If your dog gets sick, like my dog got sick the other day out of nowhere, Guess who didn't have time to bring her to the vet, but made time to bring her to the vet? It was important. She's like my child, okay? Like I had to bring her to the vet. We make time for the things that are important to us. So if this business and those things that you just put on here are important to you, and I know some of you are saying, yeah, but that's like a pipe dream. Those are things that I would do if I couldn't fail. You won't fail at them if you work for them. You won't fail at them if you go like relentlessly towards them instead of letting these BS excuses hold you back. So stop saying you don't have time. Instead say, that's not a priority. Buying my mom a dream car is not a priority. Being home with my kids is not a priority. Being able to pay off debt, it's not a priority. That hits a little harder, right? That stings a little more. And it's like, damn, you know, same thing with your workouts. Like if you're sitting here saying you don't have time to work out, instead say it's not a priority, because that's the truth. We make time for the things that are important to us, you guys. Plain and simple. There is no other like, oh, but this, no, you make time for things that are important to you. Same thing, lack of money. If you don't have money to invest in this business, and guys, guess what? You don't have to invest a lot. You invest in your supplements. That's freaking amazing. I owned a business before I started coaching. I was a wedding planner and event planner. And let me just tell you, I had to spend a lot of money in that business in order for it to succeed. I had to invest in ads. I had to invest in all kinds of marketing and all kinds of bullshit for something that I wasn't even passionate about, right? That really got me nowhere in my life. You don't need a lot of money to invest in this business. That's exactly why you need this business, because it can make you a lot of money, right? Same thing with fear of failing. The only time you fail at this is when you quit. It's when you give up, is when you use these BS excuses to justify, you use your excuses to justify your limiting beliefs. You guys, it's not about time. It's not lack of money. It's not what Susie down the street's going to think of you. It's not because you don't have spousal support. It's not because of your diamond coach quitting on you. That has nothing to do with why you're not successful. You are the only thing holding you back from being where you want to be. The things that you just listed in this chat, the things that you just said you would want if fear and limiting beliefs and lack of time and lack of money weren't an excuse. You just said those, why that's important to you, what that would mean for your family. You are the only thing that is holding you back. Okay, so starting the call with that. Sorry, I know that was like a lot, but it's true. It's so true. Your excuses are total bullshit. But if you let them dictate your life, you're going to be letting them dictate your life for the rest of your life. And guess what, you guys? Life is too short. Life is too short for you to wake up when you're 80 or the day that you're dying and say, man, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have had more time with my family. I wish I would have had more time with my loved ones. And you guys, I've been in this business, like I said, for 7 years. I've had all the excuses not to show up. I had fear of failing. I was in a broken relationship, juggling multiple jobs. My best friend, one of our best friends, died. He was murdered unexpectedly. A year into this business made me want to quit my job because I was like, I'm spending every weekend away from the people I love. That was a huge wake-up call. I've had a miscarriage. Worked through that. My dad had a cancer scare. Worked through that. I've, had multiple diamonds quit. We would be like a 20-star diamond team if it wasn't for my diamonds that quit, right? I could have easily given up, but I didn't. Instead, I used these things, you guys. I use these things as my motivation. So you have to figure out why you're here. And it can't be a superficial, I want to help people, because that's bullshit too. That's not going to get you up in the morning. That's not going to make you show up on the days where you've had a shit day at your full-time job or your kids are driving you nuts or whatever it might be. All these excuses, right, that are going to come up because they do. If your why is not strong enough, and I know we hear that all the time, and I know it gets like played over and over and over, and we tend to be like, okay, whatever, we get it, we need a why, but you really do need a strong reason why you're here. You need to remind yourself of that why every single day. And one thing that I want to recommend before you start, I don't know if you guys use like this tracker or another tracker, write your why down. On this tracker, it literally has at the top my why, right? Either write it down on here, write it down on a piece of paper, read it out loud every single day. You have to remind yourself of your why every single day. And if it doesn't get you like to the point where you're like, okay, now I need to go help people. Now I need to go make an impact. Now I need to go change my friends' lives. Now I have to go invite, even though it's something that I don't really want to do, right? If it doesn't make you say those things, then that's not your why. Find your why. I just went on a leadership retreat, and one of the exercises that we did was like, she called it 7 layers of why. So like, start out with that main why that you tell yourself, but then ask yourself why that. Like, why do you want to pay off debt? And then ask yourself why, and do it until you really like get to the deeper rooted reason. Okay. Because again, that's what's going to get you to where you want to go. Keep asking yourself why. And you guys, you might think like you're starting out with this reason, and it could be something that's totally different. All right. Something that's totally different. For me, when I started this business, I wanted financial freedom. I was literally living paycheck to paycheck, barely able to pay my bills. That's why I was working 2 jobs, because let's be real, unless you're J-Lo and wedding planning, you're not making a lot of money with wedding planning, starting out. And I wasn't. So I had to pick up a second job in a retail store just to pay my bills, which was barely happening. So that's why I started out. But then I started really digging deeper, and I had a lot of debt because guess what? I couldn't pay my bills. So I was just charging everything on credit cards and had student loan debt and all of these things. And I got down to my deep rooted why of I grew up in a family where we always struggled with money, and it was never talked about. And so my why turned into, I don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck, but I also don't want my family and my future family and the legacy that I'm leaving behind to struggle with that too. That's way more like, holy shit, I need to get up and work today than I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. Like, that's motivating, but that second, like, or that deeper why is way more motivating, right? So find your real why. Doesn't matter. I can literally tell you how to break down this tracker, but if you don't have a real deep rooted reason, you're not going to do it anyway. Okay. So now let's get into how these actions, how to rock your life with these daily actions. Again, think about what we get to do as coaches, you guys. What we get to do, again, is not hard. It's really simple, but doing these things make us better humans. They make us better wives. They make us better moms, better coworkers, better everything. Literally the daily things that we get to do. And you guys, I know a lot of people overcomplicate this business. This is all I've done for 7 years. This is it. I don't do the fluffy shit. I don't create my own websites. I don't create my own graphics to make them pretty. Like, no, I don't do any of that shit because none of that matters. What matters is you're doing these daily things that make you a better person for the people who you love most, for yourself and for your family and for your clients. Okay. That is how these things tie into you being a better person. So why the heck would you not do them? I don't know about you, but when I was a wedding planner, no one was encouraging me to read personal development or to make my health a priority. In fact, that got all put on the back burner. My health was on the back burner in my old career. I wasn't getting paid to show up in my health and fitness journey. I wasn't getting paid to better myself by reading personal development every day. I wasn't getting paid to make an impact on someone's life. Like, that's what we get to do as coaches, guys, not what we have to do, what we get to do. Shift what you say in your head. Oh, I have to invite today. No, I get to invite today. I get to make an impact on someone's life today. Okay, these daily actions are not about just checking off the boxes. It's truly about making our lives and our family lives better. And remember, you guys, overwhelm is a choice. So I hear a lot like, oh, it's so overwhelming. Coaching's so overwhelming. A lot of times when I hear that and I start talking to my team, I always ask them like, okay, let's take a step back. What about coaching is overwhelming? Because again, you should be wanting to do these things. You should be wanting to work out. You should be needing that to help relieve stress. You should be needing and wanting to read personal development. You should be wanting to talk to people about this because it's changing your life. You should be wanting to help people get results. that is not overwhelming, you guys. What's overwhelming is we allow everything else in life to overwhelm us, and we blame Beachbody. We blame coaching. We say, oh, it's this business that's overwhelming, when again, that's bullshit. Overwhelm is a choice. Yes, there is a lot of things with Beachbody to learn and to grow with, right? We always have new programs coming out. Social media is always changing. So yes, you do have to take some time to focus on this business. But at the same time, you can either be overwhelmed with this business and with all the things to learn, or you can be excited and say, you know what? Yeah, there's a lot to learn here, but I'm going to grow as I'm doing this. I'm going to become a better person for my family as I'm doing this. So overwhelm is a choice, plain and simple. I've never in 7 years, you guys, have felt overwhelmed in this business. Have I felt overwhelmed in life? Heck yes, I struggle with anxiety and depression. So that in and of itself is overwhelming. But this business isn't what makes me overwhelmed. This business is what actually gets me through the overwhelm and the anxiety and all the other bullshit of life. Because instead of leaning out, I've always chosen to lean in. When I went through my miscarriage, this was the first thing I leaned into, was that community that has stood behind me. This business, being able to help other women who have also gone through a miscarriage or who have also gone through a loss. Like for me, that was my therapy, just being able to talk to them about it, being able to share with them about it. They helped me through it. I wouldn't have been able to get through my friend's murder if it wasn't for this community and this business. Like I lean into this even more when I'm going through the overwhelm of life. Again, you can choose to lean out of it, but that's not going to help you. It's not going to make you any better. It's not going to promise you, it's not going to relieve your stress. If this is causing you stress, you're not doing it right. Okay. And again, this tracker, you guys, helps you rock your life. It helps your life become better if you do it in a simple way. So we're going to go through each one, each step, and I'm going to break down what I do and what I think about it. And then if you guys have questions, I can, dive deeper into them. So first one is being a product of the product. Our number one job, you guys, is to work on us. Like I said earlier, I don't know what you guys do for a living, but I highly doubt your job really pushes taking care of yourself. I don't care if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, if you're a teacher, if you're, I don't know, so insurance, whatever you do. Most jobs don't require you to take care of yourself. And this is the ultimate accountability. Coaching is the ultimate accountability. So you have to treat your workouts like they're your job, because guess what they are? Showing up for your workouts, following our meal plan, using our supplements are part of your job. When I started treating my workouts, my meal plan, and all of those things like it was part of my job, I actually started getting results, because there are things too that you don't want to do at your job, I'm sure, right? How many of you are like, yeah, I don't want to file that paperwork, or I don't want to deal with a snotty nosed kid who cries every day or whatever, right? You still show up for your job, whether you want to do it or not. It's the same thing for your workouts. You have to show up in your workouts. You have to show up with your nutrition. Your job as a coach is to show people what is possible for them through your journey. So if your excuse is, oh, I don't have time to work out, bullshit. We make time for what's important to us. Okay. But use coaching as your accountability. I started this business so that I could have more accountability. The way that I look at it is when I'm showing up on my social media and I'm showing up in my challenge groups and I'm getting results, I'm being a part of the product. Not only obviously is that going to make me more income and my family more income because I'm able to help more people, but it's getting me results, right? It's getting me results, but it's showing other women who are going through the same things that I'm going through that they can get results too. And that's what I needed. I always think what if my coach wasn't showing up on social media? Where would I be? Where would I be? I would be depressed. I would be well over 60 pounds overweight, because I was 60 pounds overweight when I started this business. I would probably not be married to my husband because our relationship was barely hanging on by a thread. I would be in probably, I don't even know how much debt, because I didn't want to think about it, but my life wouldn't have changed had my coach not shown up in her journey. And I always think of that on the days I don't want to work out, on the days I don't want to show up, on the days where I'd rather eat pizza than eat the other healthy things, right? There are days where I don't want to do those things, but I think of the person who is watching my social media and thinking, what if today is the day that she needs me to show up? And I don't. And then guess what? She doesn't get help. Maybe the person who's been following you, that's been ghosting you, that's been telling you no, maybe they go to your page today and they're like, I'm going to go to her page and I'm going to look to see what she does. Cause I'm at my breaking point. That was me, you guys. I was literally sitting on my bathroom floor with a bottle of tequila and I'm not even kidding, bottle of tequila and a packet of Oreos, stuffing in my face and drinking straight out the bottle when I messaged my coach. Because I had hit rock bottom and I was like, looked at myself and I'm like, what the frick am I doing? Like, I obviously need help. And guess what? I went to her page. And at the time, I sound like a grandma when I say this, we didn't have Instagram back then in the ancient days of Beachbody. We had like Facebook, we didn't even have stories, none of that. People were going live all the time, posting like 20 times a day. It was crazy. But that's what they did back then. And so I went and looked at her page and guess what? She had just posted her transformation and her story again for like the 50th time of me seeing it. And I was like, all right, I need to do this because obviously the Oreos and the tequila aren't fixing my life. This could actually happen. So I reached out to her after ghosting her for months. But if she had not shown up that day, I don't think I would have messaged her. I don't, because the reason why I reached out to her is because she was so consistent. No one wants a coach that is less consistent than they are. So I'll repeat that. No one wants a coach that is less consistent than they are. So if you are the girl who is showing up every Monday being like, oh, I fell off track and I have to start over, or you never finish a program, or you never get results, or you haven't gotten results since NOM, like you gotta get it together. Okay. You have to get it together. You have to make a decision that this is part of your job and that you're going to get results. So I want you to commit to going all in with Let's Get Up. And when I say going all in, I don't just mean the workouts. I mean the nutrition plans, you guys. I mean the supplements. Obviously, I'm growing a human. I can't really lose weight, but I can show other pregnant moms what they're capable of, right? I can show postpartum moms what they're capable of. I can show other women who are not pregnant, holy ish, this girl is pregnant working out and I'm just sitting on my couch not doing anything. Maybe I should get up and move, right? So you need to make the decision to use coaching as your accountability. And I will tell you right now, where is my phone? I need to show you guys. I always show, where is my phone? I don't know where it is. Anyway, my old social media, like literally what I did for the first 21 days of my coaching business, and don't do this because this was awful, but I literally made a collage of, because again, back in the day, we didn't have stories. We couldn't do all that fancy stuff with our Instagrams. I literally made a collage of my food and I ate the same thing every day. So I'm not really sure like why, because it was the same post almost every day. And I would label like day 1 and I had a picture of autumn and I would put like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. And again, it was basically the same thing almost every day. It's so boring. Awful post. Like I look back and I'm like, I tell my new coaches, do not do this. But that's what I did. I used my social media almost like an accountability journal. And I tell my new girls, my new coaches to do the same, except don't post collages of your food. Just use your social media as your accountability journal. Use your social media to showcase your journey. Whether people are going to sign up with you or not doesn't really matter, you guys, because again, our number one job as coaches is to work on us first. We can't help someone else if we're not helping ourselves. So for me, I still 7 years later use my social media as my accountability. If I don't feel like working out, instead of just being like, oh, I don't feel like working out today, I'm just not going to do it, I go on my stories and I'm like, y'all, I don't want to work out today. It's like literally the last thing I want to do. Someone talk me into it. Instantly have messages being like, sister, get up and move. Like, go get it done. Usually it's from my coaches or my clients, but sometimes it's my followers. So use your accountability, use your social media as your accountability journal, use your business as your accountability. And I promise you the results will come. And I also promise you that when you do that, you're building trust with your clients and your followers and the girl who is sitting on her bathroom floor eating freaking Oreos and tequila will message you one day. It might take her a few months, but she will. Okay. So when you don't want to work out, think of the person who needs you to work out for them to be that inspiration. All right. Next up. So we mark that off. Okay. So we mark off that, bam, off the checklist, right? The second thing, we're going to skip down to number 4 because I like to take care of me first. So personal development. Okay. Like I said, your number one job as a coach is to work on you. And that's not just your physical state. That's your mental state, even more than your physical state, because This business is built between your ears. The life that you're going after is built between your ears. It's all in your mindset. So you have to be reading personal development. And I will be 100% honest. I used to get on calls as a newer coach and be like, yeah, I don't need that shit. That's like woo woo. I don't need personal development. Personal development's not going to help me. I don't have time for it. Again, all the excuses of why I couldn't read personal development. And that was the main piece that was missing for me in my business. When I started reading personal development, you guys, everything, not just in my business, my life started to change. I was paying off debt. I was becoming financially free. I was happier in my relationship and in my marriage. I was more patient. I was more kind. I was just better, okay, at everything. My husband noticed a difference. My family, my friends, everyone noticed a difference because I was becoming a better human. So I know a lot of you might be like, I don't have time for that. It's not going to help me. I promise you it does. Give it a real chance and it will change your life. Okay. Personal development has changed my life more than these workouts have, more than this community has, because again, it's all in my mindset. There have been days where I wanted to quit and personal development is the reason I didn't. Okay. So tips on getting the most out of your personal development. Stop reading what everyone else is reading just because everyone else is reading it. Please, for the love of all things holy, stop reading the new Rachel Hollis book because that's what everyone else is reading. Or stop reading what you saw on Ashley McClellan or Lindsay Matway or a top coach's stories. Stop watching their stories. But also stop reading what everyone else is reading because that's not going to serve you. You have to read what speaks to you and in what season you're in. So, for example, I'm probably going to be reading something very different than what you're reading because I'm in a different space. I've been in this business for 7 years. I'm growing a human. I'm in a new season of my life, right? I have a team to lead. Maybe you don't have a team yet. So you might not be picking up the leadership books or, the whatever, the mom books, well, how to run a business and build a baby. Like you might not be reading that, right? But you might need something in confidence. You might need something in even nutrition or being consistent or time management, right? You have to figure out what you need, and that's what PD you should be reading. Okay. So that's the first thing. Second thing is physically read 10 pages. Y'all, I will be 100% honest. I used to always say I didn't have time to read. And when I started to put in my PD, like into my routine, probably within 2 years into my business, yes, I waited 2 years to start reading personal development. 2 years into my business, I listened to personal development for probably 3 years. So it wasn't until recently, within the last like 2 to 3 years, 2 to 2 years, that I actually started physically reading a book, and it makes a huge difference. I know that if you listen to something, like, yeah, you can get something from it, but there's something about reading a book and like really like just being, I don't know, when I listen to stuff, I can like do other things, which is why I was like, oh, I'm listening to my PD. I'm getting my PD in, but it was like eventually going in one ear and out the other. So reading 10 pages makes a huge difference. I like highlighting stuff now. I like just sitting down and like having that uninterrupted space. You're going to get way more out of it if you do that. Okay. So definitely recommend that. If for whatever reason, like you're super busy one day and you really don't have time, which I think again is bullshit, but if you don't have time to read 10 pages, then you can listen. Like I do listen to podcasts and things like that. I'm not saying that I never listen to personal development, but like I don't count my personal development as checked off unless I am reading 10 pages, physically reading a book or, whatever, an Amazon or tablet or whatever. You don't have to necessarily flip the page, but reading it, you get way more out of it. Okay. Again, stop saying you don't have time for it. We make time for what's important to us, and do this before you do anything else. I have a morning routine that I follow. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but I do that. Like I mix up my Energize, I have my little dance party, and then I sit down. I actually have like a reading nook in my office that I created this year, just like literally like a chair with my books next to it that I sit down while I'm while I'm drinking my pre-workout. That's what I do. I read my personal development. I don't scroll social media. I don't do any of the other junk, right? I don't answer messages. I don't do anything else but read. And that's really, really important because, again, you're filling your cup up first before you try and help everyone else. So check that off the box. Okay, so we've already gotten 2 of the be proof the products work and personal development. So you've already done 2 of your vital behaviors, right? Again, both of those things are filling your cup. Both of those things are helping you become a better human being, a better wife, a better mom, a better teacher, a better all of the things. So let's get to the fun part where most people avoid connecting, inviting, and following up. You guys, my biggest tip for this is to keep it simple. Okay. Again, we overcomplicate this shit. It's really not that hard. If you were showing up on social media, which I should have probably put this in there, but I know that's also like, oh, that takes up so much time. If you work full time, pre-write your post, or at least have like a schedule of like every Monday is going to be something motivational. Every Tuesday is going to be a transformation post. When I started this back in dinosaur ages, we had to post 6 to 7 times a day on our feed. We didn't have stories. So we literally had to write posts out like 6 posts a day. Like that, I don't even know how I did that. Cause sometimes I'm like, I can't even get out 1 post a day. How the heck am I supposed to like think of 6 things to post, right? It was insane. It was ridiculous. But that's also why I made a collage of all my food and just labeled stuff. And that was one of my posts. Like that just made my life easier. But now you don't have to do that. I don't even think you have to necessarily post every single day on your feed, to be honest. I know some coaches won't agree with that. I don't post every single day on my feed. I do post every single day on my social media. Besides one day, I unplug on Sundays. I unplug. Sometimes I'll show things in my stories if we're like doing something. But if not, like if we're just hanging out at the house or like having family time, I unplug. And I think that's okay. You can have a day where you unplug. Sometimes your brain freaking needs it, you guys. Okay. But 6 days a week, I am very present on my social media, whether it be my feed and my stories or just my stories. Okay. I do not go more than like 2 days without that. And I know this slide is nothing about that, but I just need to put that in there because you can't really invite and you can't really connect and you can't really follow up with people if you have no content. If you're not consistent in showing up, people are gonna be like, who the F are you? I don't know where you're from. Like, I haven't seen you in ages, right? Like they don't want an invite if you haven't shown up in a month. So you've got to be consistent with that before you can move on to connecting, inviting, and following up. And you guys, that's part of your tracker. Like showing up on your stories, it literally lays out if you're like, I don't know what to do. It tells you what to do. It literally tells you what to post on your stories. It literally tells you what to do. So again, that's an excuse. Just do what it's telling you to do. Showcase your life, showcase your business, showcase your workouts. That's all we get to do. It's pretty awesome. I don't know about you, but like if I can get paid to work out and share it and share my life, like duh, why not? So that's another training on social media, but I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so connecting, inviting, following up, getting back to that. Keep it super simple, okay? And switch your mindset from I have to I get to. You guys, inviting for me, connecting for me, and following up is my favorite part of this business. I am not scared to invite anyone. I don't care if people ignore me. I don't care if someone tells me to go F off. I don't care if someone tells me that I'm in a scam. Like I don't even think of that when I sit down to invite when I sit down to connect with people. I look at inviting and connecting and following up as like, I get a chance to help someone transform their life like my life's been transformed. Again, I go back to what if my coach had never invited me? And you guys, my coach invited me for like 8 months. My coach invited me like 8 or maybe even more than that, 10 times, something crazy like that. She would message me. I would either ignore her or I would say I was interested. And again, we didn't have ShareCart back then. She would send me a link to sign up and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'll do that later. And then I would put it off and then I'd ignore her. And I just kept doing that. Right. But guess what? I kept going to her page and I kept looking at all her 6 posts a day to see what she was posting and see what she was talking about in her live videos. And I wanted that so badly, but I had all these limiting beliefs that I let hold me back. So it took her a while to invite me. It took her a while to stay connected to me. And not every time she messaged me was an invite either, which was really, that was like eye-opening. I was like, okay, this girl isn't just trying to sell me on something. So that's important. Like if you're If you have people that are ghosting you or not responding to you, stay connected to them. Or if they tell you no, don't just be like, okay, bye. Because then that's like, all right, well, yeah, she was just trying to sell me on something. Like, stay connected with them. Keep them in the loop for a next boot camp or for a free group or for whatever. See how they're doing in their life, right? Your job as a coach, you get to connect with people all around the world. Like, that's pretty cool. You get to make friends. Like, I'm getting paid to make friends with women all around the world. Like, how awesome is that? I get paid to be able to connect with someone who's in the UK who I've never met before, but we have, a dog and she's pregnant and we're on this pregnancy journey together and she's due right around the time I'm due. So we're talking about life and talking about this. And if I invite her and she says yes, great. If I invite her and she says no, who cares? I still made a friend, right? That's pretty cool. So you got to get out of the mindset of like, oh, I have to invite, oh, I have to do this. So I get to do this. It will change everything. My biggest tip is to have a simple system, you guys. Again, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to have all these, I don't know, CRM platforms. Pen and paper, you guys, if that's what works for you. Excel spreadsheet, if that's what works for you. Google Streak, if that's what works for you. Like, you have to figure out what works for you in terms of your system of tracking and all that. But it doesn't have to be complicated. We overcomplicate this. Gabby uses her notes. We are like the same person. I use my notes in my phone too. I literally have a notes and I just like add people to it as we were chatting. I've tried Streak, I've tried all of that, but just having a simple system. I will share, like, my system is really simple. I go and connect with people on social media. If I feel like we have a lot in common, if we're like having a conversation, I will put them in like a folder on Instagram or put their name down somewhere if they're on Facebook, because I build my business on both. Because again, we didn't have Instagram back in the ancient days. So like, I still use Facebook as a business, a way to build my business too. And then a few days later, if they're still following me, still watching me, I invite them. I don't wait weeks. I don't wait months. I don't wait years. I invite them because I know that it takes a few times for most people to say yes. It takes a few times for most people to hear about it, to want to do it, right? So I give them like 2 to 3 days and then I invite them. If they tell me no, if they don't respond, that doesn't affect me in any way, you guys. Again, my job as a coach is to offer them this solution to something that's changed my life and has made such a big impact on my life. Like, I want to pay it forward to them, right? And then in terms of follow up, I have a list in my phone of people who have like said that they're interested, they want info. They do not get removed from that follow up list unless they tell me to go F off and leave them alone forever, which has only happened 3 times. And all 3 of those people are now on my team. So they eventually came back and was like, I need help. I'm sorry, I was so mean to you. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. So just keep it simple. Like, literally keep it super simple. When I simplify my process, like, the inviting, the connecting, the following up, that all became like natural for me and so easy and fun. Keep it fun. You don't have to have the perfect script. You can't say, I heard this at my very first summit and it's always stuck with me. You can't say the wrong things to the right people, you guys. There are people out there that need you. There are people out there who need this. And if you don't invite them, they may never get that opportunity to change your life like you've changed yours. And maybe your life hasn't changed as drastically as mine yet. But I can tell you, like, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, if you're still here, which I hope you are, if you're still here, many of you won't be, by the way, truth. But if you're still here and you're willing to fight for what you want out of your life, you're going to look back and be like, man, I am so grateful that I invited that girl because now she's a bridesmaid in my wedding. Or, you get that message of, oh my gosh, thank you so much for helping me. It like changes your whole life, you guys. Like, you don't understand the impact that you can make just by showing up in this business and doing these simple things. Okay. So connecting and invite follow up, biggest tip is just have a simple system. It's really not that complicated. And then getting people results. You guys, I heard this on a call the other night and I love this. Don't be the coach who pumps and dumps, meaning you get all these people that sign up with you and then you dump them. Like, don't be that person. Don't be that person that signed your friends and family up and you're here for forever. And then you quit 2 months later, or you go MIA, or you don't help them. I hate that, because guess what? That gives me, the person who is showing up consistently, a bad look in this business because they're like, oh yeah, I used to have a coach who never did anything with me or never plugged me into a challenge group or never helped me, right? You can't do it for them. Okay. I'm not a hand holder. If you haven't noticed, I am a very like tough love person. I don't take excuses. I don't hand hold, but at the same time, I give my girls the resources and the tools that they need and that I needed to get started in this business and to get started in our boot camps. So your job as a coach is to get people results. If they're signing up as a coach, teach them what you do. Help them help their first person. Help them hit Success Club, right? If they're showing up in your boot camps, like help them get results. If they're struggling with nutrition, help them. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know it all, but you can guide them in how these programs have helped you and what you've done. So show up as your best challenger in your boot camps. Show up as your best coach on your team. If you are having coaches underneath you that are saying they want to hit Success Club and you're, pushing them to hit Success Club and you're frustrated that they're not doing it or that you don't have anyone hitting Emerald, have you hit Emerald lately? Have you hit Diamond lately? Have you added anyone to your team? Have you hit Success Club? Because if you're bitching about them not doing it, it's because you're not doing it. Your coaches and your clients are going to do 40% of what you do, 30 to 40%, and 40% is high. So if you're not showing up in your boot camps and showing up in your bod groups and showing up in your team page, your coaches and clients aren't going to do the same. So you have to show up and participate just like you want them to. The more active you are, the more active they're going to be. Act like you have a group of 1,000 waiting for you to show up. Act like you have a team of 1,000. I don't care if you're an Emerald coach. I don't care if you're just a coach and you have no one underneath you. Act like you have a team of 1,000. Because if you show up, that's going to give you more confidence. It's going to be like, holy shit, I have 1,000 people waiting to join my team. And you're going to go on to your social media. No one knows your rank. No one knows what ranks are. No one knows what diamond means outside of Beachbody. No one knows what elite means. No one knows what premier means. They know that you're a leader because you're showing up like a leader. I'm not about like the fake it till you make it thing, because I don't think you need to fake it. I think if you are confident in what you are promoting and what you are doing, that's going to breed onto other people. People want to sign up with someone who's confident in what they have to offer. And you guys, you've got confidence, and that comes from personal development. That also comes with getting people results, because when you help your first person, you help your first 5 people, you're like, oh my gosh, I just helped someone, lose 10 pounds, or I just helped someone sell their first challenge pack. It gives you confidence. Like, I can do that for someone else if I just did it for this person, right? So get people results, give them value. Again, know that you can't do it for them. You can't handhold. You have to let them go. It's not your fault if they fall off. You are not responsible for someone's failure, just like you're not responsible for someone's success. I'm not responsible for my coaches who are successful in this business. Do I help them? Yeah, sure. But I didn't do the work. I didn't do their tracker. I did my tracker. I didn't do their tracker, right? So just remember that. Remember to share those client wins and those coach wins, because again, proof is in the pudding. People, social proof is huge, you guys. So even if it's not someone that maybe you helped, but someone on y'all's team, maybe one of your fellow teammates was able to earn the trip to Punta Cana. Shout them out, show that, because again, that's social proof that like, oh, these girls are actually earning trips. These girls are getting these results. It's social proof that shows people what's possible with this business and with these programs. Okay, just a few more things. So now that you're like, okay, so again, that's it. That's this tracker. That's pretty easy. Set timers, because it makes a huge difference. There's literally times, you guys, that tell you how much time to commit to these things. But I know that a lot of people say, okay, well, that's all great. I know how to do that, but I don't have time for it. Again, we're going back to the lack of time being BS, right? But I want to kind of give you just quick things that you can do to help you create that time. So number one thing is create a morning routine. I know a lot of you are probably like, I'm not a morning person, or I already have to get up at the crack of dawn, or whatever. You guys, I have girls on my team who wake up at 4 a.m. to get in their workouts, to do their morning routine, to get shit done. Again, we make time for what's important to us. If I told you, I don't know, that if you wake up okay, this is a perfect example. Anyone go on a vacation and you have to book a flight that's at like 5 a.m. So you have to be at the airport for 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. and you're like so excited. You go to bed and you like can barely sleep, but you are up and at 'em at 3 a.m. when that alarm goes off because you're going to Hawaii and you're like, I'm not missing my flight, right? You get up, you get to the airport. At one time, you're like refusing to miss your flight. You would do that for a trip to Hawaii, but you're not going to do that for all the goals that you said before, right? I mean, Hawaii is pretty cool. I've been there, pretty cool, but like that's not going to change my life. That's not going to get my family, help my family become financially free, right? So if you're not a morning person, but yet you wake up to go to Hawaii at the crack of dawn, you are a morning person. You're just choosing not to be a morning person. So stop saying you're not a morning person. We are what we tell ourselves. Again, it's not a priority. Like Abby just said, stop hitting snooze. Stop scrolling social media at the first, 5 minutes of your day. Stop watching TV and fill your cup first. So get up, do your morning routine. My morning routine, I sit down and I write out my goals every morning. I write out my affirmations. I write out my why. Then I plan out my day, which is really important. I'm not a big like time block person, but I plan out like what I need to do and what's like number one priority first. And then I like fill in the rest of my day. I read my personal development and I work out. That is both of those business activities, right? That get checked off the box. Then set business hours or power pockets. If you don't have a time to like sit down to do an actual power hour, do power pockets through your day. So when I started this business, I worked 2 full-time jobs. So I didn't really have all this time laying around to send invites and to do. I did it on my lunch break. I did it when I went to the bathroom. A little too much information there, but it's true. When I would sit down on the toilet, send out invites or answer my messages. I have moms that do it in the carpool line. I have moms that do it at gymnastics practice. I have moms that do it when their kids go to sleep, or again, wake up at the crack of dawn to do it. Like if you want something bad enough, you're going to find a reason, or you're going to find a way to make it happen, or you're going to find an excuse. So find that time. If you are like, I literally have no hours in the day, what I want you to do is I want you to sit down and I want you to take a piece of paper and write 5 a.m. till 11 p.m. and do this for 2 days. Write down everything you do from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. or 10 p.m., whenever your bedtime is, okay? And I want you to write out, how long does it take you to take a shower? How many times did you press snooze? How many hours did you sleep? Sleep is important, okay? Not saying not to sleep, but like, did you sleep for 7 hours or 8 hours and then you snoozed for an hour? Because you do have an hour right there that you could be building your business and building your life and building your dreams, right? Do you scroll social media? Do you watch TikTok or Reels? Do you watch other coaches' social media? That is the worst. When one of my coaches tells me I don't have time, and I'm like, I was about to say a bad word. You watch my social media every single day. You go to my stories every single, I see you on there, but you don't have time. I'm confused. Like you have time to watch me, but you don't have time to build your business. Okay. Like you got time if you're watching other coaches. Stop watching them. Number one, you're pushing your followers to them when you watch other coaches. But you're also wasting your time. So stop, write out what you're doing from 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to your bedtime and see where your time is going. And I can promise you, you have an hour out of the 24 hours of your day, because everyone and their mama has 24 hours in their day, you guys. Everyone is busy. Everyone has other priorities. Again, we make time for what's our number one priorities, and you, your health, and your family and your business should be a priority. So set those business hours, make some non-negotiables. So like for me, I don't go to bed without doing certain things. I show up on my social media, again, 1 unplugged day a week. And I will not go to sleep if I don't get in my workout and I don't read my personal development. I give myself grace in the workout right now because I'm growing a human. I don't go more than 3 days without pressing play. That's just always been a rule of mine. But the point is like, I don't not do my journey. I don't not read my personal development. I also connect and invite Monday through Friday every single day, or I don't go to bed. I don't allow myself to go to bed unless I am inviting X amount of people or X amount of time, whatever you want to do. Those are non-negotiables for me. Okay. I do not go to sleep until those are checked off. Now, do I do every single thing on my tracker every single day? No, I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. There are days where I don't follow up every day, or I don't post on social media every single day. I post on my stories almost every day, Monday through Saturday, and I unplug on Sundays. But I still don't, I might not get every single thing done, but there are my non-negotiables that I refuse to go to sleep and not do, okay? And like I said earlier, schedule unplug time. You do not have to become glued to your phone or work 24 hours a day on this Beachbody business, or sacrifice all your time with your family to be successful in this. I'm going to repeat that. You do not have to be glued to your phone in order for you to be successful in this. You have to unplug. You have to spend time with your family. You have to make them a priority, because they are. You do have to sacrifice a little bit, you guys, but my husband knows, like, when he gets off of work and he gets home, I unplug. I usually don't work on Tuesdays. I'm speaking tonight for you guys, but we talked about it. He knows, he's good with it, But I used to be, especially when I was a new coach, because I was so excited, I would just be like, oh, I gotta answer that message while I'm at dinner. No, you don't. No, you don't. Your family, they don't need to see you glued to your phone. Okay. Yeah, your family's gonna see you working, which is important to explain to them why you're working and what you're working for. But you also need to have that balance of not working all the time. And from someone who I love what I do, you guys, I could literally sit in this office all day and work. I could, and I would be fine with it because I love what I do, but I have to unplug mentally for myself, but also like for them, because I know that they deserve me and they really deserve me being present, not just me on my phone working while we're sitting at dinner. So make sure, like, you want this business to give you that time freedom. So let it give you that time freedom. You have to work for it, but let it give you that time freedom. Okay, last thing, and remember what and who you're showing up for. So all those goals that you guys said in the beginning of this call, I want you to go and write it down. And I want you to remember that every single day when you show up to do this tracker, or when you choose not to do this tracker. I want you to look at that why. I want you to look at those goals and say, okay, is this a priority today? Because it might not be. There will be days where you're like, yeah, it's not a priority today. And that's okay. But if it's a strong enough why, and you're reminding yourself of that every single day, you're gonna want to do this tracker no matter what, because it will mean that it eventually will happen. So I know that was long. Did not mean to talk for that long, but I'll stop sharing my screen. If you guys have any questions, I was not looking at the chat because I get very distracted. So if y'all ask questions, I probably missed them.
No, the chat was seriously lit. And I pretty much like took all of the notes possible. But you guys, if you have questions, feel free to like unmute yourself or type in the chat box. But I really just kind of wanted to, I love what you said about like being unplugged, like the only reason why I do coach work like on the weekends is and it's early in the morning. Like you'll see me and I'll be up when like Brandon's working out or something. And then it's pretty much like unplugging unless we're literally not doing anything. But it's been really nice to like just unplug over the weekends. And really, I want to go back to the personal development because the 10 pages, I know you did 75, you did it before, or yeah. So Brandon's doing that now and he's dedicated to this to 10 pages, but I love that idea of like dedicating 10 pages a day and, saying that you don't have time to read a book, but yeah, you're going to be plugging the TV on when you're laying in bed, right? Like you could shift your mindset, like go to bed with intention and read your book, which is something that I definitely, noticed myself doing. So I'm going to just see, hold on, I'm reading the chat box. Okay. Taya asked, did you have the same business hours that you just mentioned in Unplugged time when you first started?
No, because I was working 2 jobs when I started this. So obviously now this is my full-time job. This is my only job. So for me now I have more flexibility. I have an hour where I can sit down and work, or 2 hours or whatever. So when I first started, I was wedding planning and I worked in a retail store. So like I didn't have during the week I was working in a retail store and then like weeks of weddings. I don't know if you've ever planned a wedding, but when you're a wedding planner, like you can work like all weekend where you're like literally nonstop. Okay. So on those weeks, I did have to give myself a little grace because like there were days obviously where I wasn't able to do my Beachbody as much as I normally did. I still showed up. I've shown up every day for 7 years, no matter what, you guys, no matter the season I'm in, no matter what, but maybe I didn't get out invites. Maybe I didn't, for one day during the week or 2 days during the week. I still invited and I still did the things. I just changed how I did it. But I had to make this business priority. So I became a morning person. I woke up at 5 a.m. and worked out and did all my stuff in the morning. And then I would work on my lunch break. I would work between client meetings. I would come home. I would do 30 minutes of this coaching business. It also depends on what you want out of it. Okay. Like when I decided that I wanted to go full time with this, I was like, I know I need to put more time in, because if I want to get more out of it, I have to put more into it. In terms of unplugging, I struggled in the beginning with that balance of like family life. And luckily, when I first started this, I lived at home with my parents. I didn't live with my husband. We weren't married yet. So like for me at night, when I was at home with my parents, it was easy for me to work at night because they didn't care. Like they were watching TV or eating dinner or whatever. And so like for me, like I could work, later that night. But when we lived together, I had to learn like, okay, Jessie, you got to put the work away because you're spending time with him. So that took some time, but like if you're just starting out, that's like one thing I wish I would have implemented in the beginning, of like having that unplugged time and really setting business hours, or like having time where I'm like, okay, this is dedicated to Beachbody and the rest of my time is not. And that's something that like he knows, like my team calls are every Monday night. So he knows that every Monday night from 8 to 9, I'm going to be speaking on my team calls or on my team calls. So we don't plan things on Monday nights, or we don't, he doesn't get mad at me for it because he knows I'm working. Whereas if I was on a call every single night, he'd be like, okay, Jessie, like, what are you doing? Right. I also, one thing, if you're struggling with like that balance, I work from my phone, but I work a lot from my computer because your spouse can see if you're struggling with your husband kind of like understanding this business. Your spouse doesn't know what you're doing on your phone. You can literally be scrolling social media, which is what he does. Right? He scrolls on Twitter and all the, I don't know what he uses, Reddit or whatever, to watch sports shit. Like that's what he does on social media. So that's what he does on his phone. When I'm working and I'm working from my computer and he can see that I'm not just scrolling, and he can see that I'm sending out emails or see that I'm having conversations, that was something that like shifted for him, because he was like, okay, she's actually like working and not just playing on Facebook or playing on Instagram. I know Instagram, you can't really message from your computer, but like I usually do that during the day. So that's something that has helped me.
That is so true, because I was living with my mom and dad before we moved in together, and I would just work whenever, and it was so nice. And and the only time that I got that unplugging time is if like I went to his house and I was sleeping over or something, right? Like then I really wasn't working, because I was like, oh, this is time with him. But when we moved in, I remember messaging Emily and I was like, okay, I'm struggling because all I want to do is spend time with him and I'm not doing anything in my business. But like, that's why like scheduling your coach work, sitting down with your tracker, like being on your computer, doing work and not just scrolling, will actually help you have more time for your family, right? Like, and exactly, like Brandon knows my calls. Like he knows when I have calls. Like literally, does he give a call tonight? And sometimes I surprise him and I'm like, no, I don't have a call tonight. And he's like, what do you want to do? You want to catch up on a show? So it's nice. I always say this, communication is key. Like you have to communicate that with your significant other, and also share your why with them. Share your, why it's a priority to you, so you can have these things, you know what I mean? So I love that you did that in the beginning of this call, because that was like so key. Like, is it a priority to you? Because if it's not, then this business isn't going to be important, right? Like you're not going to work your business. So I love that. Did anyone else have any questions? Oh, how did you show up on social media when you are struggling, but don't want to share what you are going through yet?
So, I am all about being very open and raw and real with my followers. Now that's not to say you have to go air everything that you're going through. Like for example, when I had a miscarriage, I wasn't like the day I had a miscarriage being like, guess what guys, I'm having a miscarriage. Like, no, that was something that I had to work through with me and my husband. We had to like grieve, we had to figure stuff out. So I did go on my social media and just say like, I'm going through something. I'm not ready to talk about it. I'm not, but like I'm not about being like fake pretending that I'm happy when I'm not. So I'm all about just being like raw and real. I'm like, look, y'all, I'm going through some shit. I'm not ready to talk about it, but like, I'm still showing up. I'm still here. I'm still doing what I need to do to take care of me. But I just don't share exactly what's happening. And there's things, you guys, that, like I said, I'm all about being open, but like there are things that I don't share about in my life. Like you don't have to share every little detail of your life. Like you need privacy in some areas, you know what I mean? Like, and that's okay. Like you choose. The beauty of this business is that you choose what you get to share. So like you don't have to share something that you're not comfortable sharing. Like again, I wasn't comfortable talking about my miscarriage when it first happened. It took me almost 2 months, and honestly, the main reason why I shared was because it made me feel not alone. I felt so alone when I had my miscarriage because it's not talked about. Okay. I didn't really know a lot of people who had them that were openly talking about them. So like for me, I knew that, and I have such like a close relationship with a lot of my followers who, even if they're not on my team or my clients, like we're friends. And so like I knew that if I opened up about it, that I at least hope that like they would be supportive and maybe they would have their own stories, and like the floodgates opened up other women. And so it just helped me feel not alone. And it helped me just feel better. And so like now that's something that I was like, okay, well, I'm honest about that. So that just helps me like, I don't know, it helps me feel good. Knowing that I wasn't by myself with it. So again, you don't have to share everything in your life, but if you are holding yourself back from sharing, I guess, certain things that you're maybe afraid, like, oh, people are going to judge me or people aren't going to understand, like it may be the thing that you should share because it could help you. But again, you're not required to, and you have to be ready to share those things. I know people who have been like through divorce through this business, loss of a child, like some of that stuff, like you're not ready to share, you don't want to share, and that's okay. So
No, that hits mine. Yeah, Emma and I both went through a divorce, so it's definitely, it's hard. And I can say, like for me, I got shit on a lot by family and friends for sharing too soon. And I was just like, it's not your choice to choose it's too soon. It's my choice. And it was a choice that I felt comfortable doing it at the time that I did it. For me to be able to not move on, but to be able to be like who I wanted to be authentically. And I knew that my story was going to help me just feel like this sense of relief. But I know that it's not like that for everyone. I know that for other people, it's different. Like you still are hurting and you don't know how to you don't know how to share that. Right. And I'm going to tell you this much. You're not going to know how to share it today, and you're not going to know how to share it perfectly in 30 days. I promise you. Like it was a roller coaster. And some days I woke up and I was like on my story with a boomerang, like, sorry guys, this is all you're going to get from me today, literally. But it's because they knew I was struggling with something. And sometimes you could do that. Like what you said, you could say, I'm struggling internally with something right now. And when I'm ready to share it, I will share it. And maybe you can even turn around and be like, is there anyone struggling with something right now? Like, how can I pray for you? I don't know if you're not like that, whatever, but like, sometimes I do that, sometimes I'm like, I'm really struggling today. Like, how can I pray for you if you're struggling with something? Right. So yeah, I'm reading Emma's comment.
and one thing too, like really quick, she was just saying, like, show a boomerang, like you don't have to go on your stories and talk. I mean, you have to eventually because people need to get to know you. But like, if there's days where like I have anxiety and like there are days where my anxiety is just taking over, I don't go on my stories all happy and doing my no, like I'll just share workout clips. I'll share, graphics that I have about my next boot camp or whatever, right? Like you don't have to be happy-go-lucky and super excited all the time on your stories. So
yes. Okay, I love it. That was a good one. You guys are asking good questions. Okay, does anyone have any other questions? I'm gonna give it like 30 seconds.
Okay. And I know I shared this last night with your team too about the rank thing, but you guys, I'm telling you, like no one knows your freaking rank. So if that's what's holding you back from thinking that you are not worthy of a successful business because I'm not a 1-star diamond, or I'm not this, or I don't have that level of income, or she's lucky and that's why she hit a high success club number. No one knows. No one knows your rank, and they certainly don't care. They only care about if you're bringing the energy, if you have the passion, if you're being consistent, if you're adding value. That's what they care about. You know, like, it's not like you're on your story and you're like, hi, I'm a 1-star diamond coach. Do you want to join my challenge group? Because I make that. Like, no, that's not what they do. So, you know, it just, I really like that you brought that up too, because I've been meaning to like share that with the team as well. And I love that you said some of you won't be here in a year, and that hits hard because it's so true. I mean, do you want that to be you? I would just say that, like, cause I like, that was like, oh my God, wait, like, I don't want that to be me. Like, this community has helped me. This team has helped me. I don't want to go back to the Gabby who is sitting in her closet crying because nothing fit, drinking like tequila, sitting at a bar. Like, that was me.
Tequila and Oreos. It's fine.
That was me. You know, I was a bartender, miserable, like drinking and just making bad decisions. And like, I don't want to go back to that. So this business has given me the opportunities to see a bigger picture for my life and what it can do for my family. And I wouldn't put that up against anything that I had in my life before. So I will still be here in a year. Yes. Cool. Yay. Okay. I guess if you guys don't have any more questions, then we can peace out. But we will try and get the recording up so you guys can share it with your teams and stuff. But thank you so much, Jessie. You literally brought the fire.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. All right, guys. Take all of her advice, everything, and go apply it. Bye, guys.